Catherine Leach is a family lawyer, Chief Executive Officer of Leach Legal. She's on the line. Hello, Catherine. Thanks for doing this.
Hello.
So, when exes bond over divorce, so human beings, in this case, get married, then they don't want to be married to those people anymore, so they get divorced. But then they get back together again. You see that a bit in your business?
Well, there's lots of permutations.
I'm sure
in
there
things, and I've seen probably just about all of them. I've seen the people that divorce and then get back together again. I've seen the people that separate and leave their spouse for their best friend's partner.
That always surprises me when that happens because, that means you lose a best friend and a partner.
Yes, and it does happen quite a bit. Unfortunately,
yeah.
It's a byproduct of people getting close and knowing each other fairly well. So that one happens too.
Does it happen more with men than women?
I wouldn't say it's one way or another. I think it's just a connection that people have, and sometimes they just bond over. What perhaps they think there's chemistry or something happening there. I'm not sure.
I've just wondered about men in particular over the years. I think, all right, you wanted to have an affair. Did it have to be with your wife's sister?
Yes, or your husband's best friend.
Yes.
It does, and it makes it so very complicated because, as you say, you lose your spouse, but you also lose your best friend, and it's I suppose it's happiness tinged with joy for some of them.
Yes, or it might be just double betrayal after many years.
Well, that's right. I know I've had clients who have been left. I know one client in particular, her husband left her for her best friend, and they've been separated probably for over 10 years now, and I see her from time to time, and she is still bitter and angry. Okay.
Yes, well, it's like that. I actually mentioned on the air, and a couple of people commented to me, some exes, it seems like you go into a kind of limbo, and then they decide, well, at least they might talk to you. But others hate you forever.
Yeah, I guess it's human nature, isn't it? Some people are better able to manage their emotions and manage what's happened than other people. It's interesting. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they'd just been through a business breakup, and it was like they'd been divorced. They were so bitter and angry against their business partner. It's that lack of trust and betrayal, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. I tell you, I don't know whether this plays a part, but I know of a situation where they separated, then divorced. First of all, they separated just more for career reasons than anything else. Mm-hmm. But then she decided she had to move on with her life, and this was a big mistake, and wanted a divorce, so they divorced. But then they ended up in the same city again, got back together for a bit of a talk, euphemism, and then she continued to see him. The part that intrigued me, and you may have a thought on, was that her mother, I'm surprised she told her mother, but her mother was intrigued by the fact that she was doing it and said, oh, it's like you're having an affair with him. Is that it? It's sort of naughty again, so there's that attraction about it?
Well, you can explain it in any way you want, whatever works. I suppose for her it felt like she was having a secret affair.
Yeah.
But again, that's quite common. I've seen people who have separated and divorced and even done a property settlement and then got back together, married again, and then come back and said, we need another divorce and another property settlement.
Well, we read about the famous, of course, doing that all the time. What do we got? Ben Affleck and whoever at the moment. And, it's on again, it's off again. And this provides this kind of soap opera entertainment for us, I suppose. But for the couple who are involved, I just want, can't you make up your mind? Can't you find somebody else in the big wide world that you might be happier with?
It's interesting walking through with people this process because you think that they would be more decisive and they would just say, look, it's over. I'm going to move to my next stage. What's happened has happened. But I see people who are very professional people, who are very smart people, who just oscillate and just can't seem to really fix on the decision. And it intrigues me that in every other way they're so decisive, and in this one they take so long to make a decision.
Yes, I've thought about that over the years, but I guess we're dealing with raw emotion here, not intellect.
Yes, absolutely. And you're also dealing with in a lot of cases, children, and them trying to work out what's going to be the best thing for their children, and whether staying or going or, some other permutation is going to be the best thing for them. Most people don't know.
I know somebody whose husband left her, married another woman, had a couple of kids, then he died, then the two women got together to bring up the children.
Wow, that's a good result. In many ways.
I would think so, yeah. But, the permutations, as you say, are endless. And if I read you correctly, there are situations where you got a couple, they split up, and they marry another couple that they seem to both know. But then after a little while, I guess, they seem to all be pals. It's kind of like Friends. Remember that old TV show? Yes. Well, certainly the couple that I dealt with, the original husband and wife that left and decided they wanted to be together, went off and left the other two who started consoling each other. Yeah.
And then they got together and then they got married, and the original couple actually separated and were no longer together. And the ones who were left stayed together for a very long time. But in the initial stages, the kids were going back and forth between these two houses, which was one biological parent and one very close family friend in each house. It was very strange in some ways, but also worked very well for them.
Have you ever thought about being a script consultant for Neighbours or The Bold and the Beautiful? Or...
I've been doing this for 35 years, and I have to say I can still be surprised. People come and tell me things and I go, yep, that's the new one. Would never have figured that one out.
I see. So it never gets predictable then.
It does not, no.
While I'm talking to you, are prenups worth anything in this country?
They are, yes.
They are? Yeah.
Yes, they're increasingly being used, particularly with the great transfer of wealth between the baby boomers and their children, and people who are wanting to protect the family wealth, even if the kids have nothing, but they're going to inherit something. There's a lot of interest in prenups.
I was reading about Jackie Kennedy when she married Aristotle Onassis. She had 170 clauses of what she would do and what she wouldn't do. Right, yes. It really was a business arrangement. I mean, it wasn't just a business arrangement, the way he carried on, but yeah. No, I just... Well,
they're pretty effective documents. They're a contract, effectively. It's, as if you and I went into business and we would have a partnership agreement, and everybody thinks that's very natural.
Yes.
But just because you're going into a marriage and you want to have a contract, people think that that's somehow unromantic. But
yes, that's right.
Very sensible.
It kills the romance. But are they becoming more common?
They are, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they certainly are. They are. And it's not just... they're very useful for people going into a second marriage. So if you've already had your kids and you've both got assets that you've accrued and perhaps you've both got divorced, you want to come in and you want to protect your assets for your, separate children. And as I say, even young people coming in who don't have any assets, but they've got parents who are going to eventually die and leave them a lot of money, they want to protect that money for their family. They don't want it to go to somebody else.
I've seen that. Yes. Very threatened by the kids that came with the new husband or wife. Catherine, do appreciate your time and comments. Thank you for coming on the program.
My pleasure.
Catherine Leach. Ms. Leach is a family lawyer and Chief Executive Officer of Leach Legal.